boasting over 1.9 billion active users who leverage its platform for business, connection, and community. Its intuitive interface and rich suite of creative tools empower users to easily produce and share engaging short-form videos. According to the Uganda Communications Commission's 2023 report, Uganda is home to 5.5 million TikTok users who utilize the platform for entertainment, content creation, and even income generation. Given the Mufti's appeal, we turn our attention to the future of TikTok users in Uganda and the potential ramifications of a complete ban. What lies ahead and what would be the cost of such a decision? This is the Limelight. Well, good evening and welcome to the program. This is the Limelight. My name is Prince Apollo, and I will directly connect with Alan Sempala Chigozi. And Alan is a tech lawyer, but also a digital rights activist. Alan, you're most welcome to the dialogue. Let's go straight to the issue. Do you also agree that TikTok is for idlers?
Apollo, look here. TikTok or social media generally is a mirror to society. So whenever TikTok reflects something, that's our society. That's what we are. That's what we've become. So TikTok is not the problem. To the contrary, the leaders who are calling for its ban are the problem.
Sure.
So it's only prudent that the leaders look at their actions. Because those who have complained, if you look carefully or keenly, are those that their electorates or followers have complained about. But we've similarly had clerics or leaders who have been celebrated on social media. Those who have done well have been celebrated and they've not called for its ban. So it's basically a mirror to society.
Okay.
What you see is what you are. And I would really encourage our leaders to reflect carefully and rather change. Have a change of mind on how you lead your people. Have a change of mind on what transpires. Imagine Apple in the previously carried on by-elections for Kawempe. Imagine if we didn't have social media.
Yep.
Imagine if we didn't have social media. What would have happened? Because traditional media reached an extent of pulling out their reporters.
True.
They pulled out their reporters and feared for their lives. And we all relied on social media to know what's happening in Kawempe.
True.
In fact, even those in power actually noticed that, oh my God, I think we went overboard. I think that was excess force on journalists. It was excess force on voters. It wasn't necessary to pack members in polling stations. It wasn't necessary to beat up
Sempala, let's look at their argument. They are saying, well, social media platforms are being abused. And there is need for regulation of this, of usage of these social media platforms. Don't you think everything, however good it could be, needs some level of regulation?
It needs regulation, not restriction and banning. What they are calling for is restricting and banning. Social media, however much there might be some tendencies of misinformation, the quality or the level of misinformation we have in Uganda has not reached a level of calling for a ban. This is something that can be handled by the laws that we already have. Even then, the laws we have are more restrictive. If you notice, these laws have been only going for those who go for big people. Those who have power have used it to curtail, to stifle freedom of expression. Those who have power have used it to imprison. Many bloggers and social media users or influencers have been imprisoned.
Yeah, true.
Some have actually been killed. Apollo, social media gives us the freedom to speak, to interact, to express ourselves,
Sure.
to hold our leaders accountable. it's a medium that allows us to have a free and fair election. Free and fair elections dictate that we should have open conversations and communication, Apollo. And these are the hallmarks of democracy.
Oh, yeah.
There can't be democracy if we can't talk, if we can't communicate, if we can't hold you accountable. So we would rather have leaders do the right thing. Why would you beat up journalists?
Yeah.
And you don't want to be recorded? Many journalists have been beaten up, and their crime has been recording what has been the abuse that has been meted on the citizens. Shouldn't we just check our habits, our style of leadership, the abuses that we met on the people we lead? If you're a leader, if you're a religious leader, how are you conducting yourself? Those who have been celebrated, by the way, there are leaders who have actually been bought cars for. There are clerics who have been bought cars
just because they somehow
they bless. But also social media has more goods than bad.
Okay.
If you were to list the benefits of social media to our community, the economic benefits, the ability, the enabling ability to exercise our right to communicate, our right to convene, our right to express ourselves, which are the cornerstones of democracy. If you can't express yourself, what is democracy then?
Okay, from a broader point of view, Sempala, tell us how you think the social media users in Uganda are actually utilizing these platforms for possibly better livelihoods, or for positive change. What is your evaluation? What is your judgment?
Look here, Apollo. I'll start with the economic benefits. There are several youngsters who used to rent out the brick and mortar places for businesses in town, to rent out spaces to do their businesses. They got very expensive. The economy went haywire, and they only relied on social media to trade. So we do online deliveries. What happens to the online delivery economy, the digital economy? Many things thrive online now.
That is my question. Internet. Are we using social media platforms for that positive, those positive benefits?
Yes. Majority of the youngsters or people, some of us who use social media, we use it for the benefit. The criticism people get on social media is what makes them feel it's used wrongly.
Okay.
You get it? Many people have been blessed on social media. Many clerics have blessed people. People have converted into...
you're saying they use these social media platforms also to reach out to their believers, to their flock.
It's a platform that you can reach as many people at the cheapest cost.
Oh, yeah.
And in the smallest time possible. No more all traditional media houses have been... for a wrong word, or for lack of a better word, they've been stifled.
Yeah.
You can't invite anyone.
They're actually even expensive.
Exactly. You can't just invite everyone to express themselves on TV. In the previous election of Kawempe, by-election, a radio station was
closed.
Was closed. So what are you saying? The only medias that we had were overly restricted.
Yeah, true.
Overly restricted. So social media remained as the platform where we, the local, the wananchi, would hold people accountable. When we hold you accountable, do the right thing.
Okay.
Don't call it bad manners. Don't call it misuse of platforms. We would rather you are misusing the leadership position that you have.
Well, we all remember how the Computer Misuse Act came into place. And around that time, I can, yes, before that time, even Facebook was closed here in Uganda.
Still closed.
Do you think that on the side of regulation, we need much more legal instruments to regulate social media or computer use?
No. We need to actually remove some legal instruments.
Sure.
The instruments we have are overly ambiguous, so restrictive. So they're draconian in nature, and they've only helped those in power. You get it? They've not enabled. Before Facebook was muzzled or blocked, we had close to 6 million people on Facebook. 6 million people. When they blocked Facebook, the number it reduced.
Yeah, true.
You get it? Did we help? You get it? Many people are getting education on social media. Many people are selling goods on social media.
Yeah.
Many people are interacting with family. People are getting treatment on social media. So by blocking social media, how far can they explain to us how much money they've made? Can they explain to us how much moral decadence they've fought? If you can't have that report, you've done more harm than good.
So what form then of regulation can you recommend? Or you're saying we don't need to regulate social media
We need
use?
to regulate social media, but we don't need to restrict. What we are doing right now is that we are using draconian laws to muzzle freedom of expression. Whenever you muzzle freedom of expression, then you're not doing anything in terms of progress in as a democratic dispensation. In 1986, when this regime came, it was it was celebrated for bringing freedoms of expression, for voting and all that. In fact, the reason they went to the bush is because people were not given an opportunity to vote. Votes were stolen, and there was no freedom of expression. So they are going against the very ideals that they fought for.
We already had Facebook blocked in an event that TikTok is banned completely. What do you think may happen?
We'll be heading for disaster.
Wow. Just because of social media?
The only riots, serious riots we've had here were two. The one for 2009 and the one for 2021. The one for 2009 was the Kabaka riots. Many people were killed. You know why people rioted?
They're called Kayunga riots.
Misinformation. People thought it was the Kabaka who was blocked to enter Bugerere. It wasn't the Kabaka.
It was the Prime Minister.
They were misinformed. It was actually the Prime Minister. That's why people rioted. And many were killed. By the time they knew that it was actually not Kabaka, many people were killed. Same with the...
So you think if there was social media, I mean at that time, if there was free access to social media at that time, that misinformation wouldn't have...
It wouldn't. People riot because they are misinformed. Because Honorable Kyagulanyi was arrested in Luka in 2021, people thought he was actually killed. The information moving around was Kyagulanyi has been killed, and we don't know where the body is. That's why they started rioting. By the time they realized they were just arrested, it was already late. So, but when you close social media, you've closed routes of proper information.
But they're the same platforms. They actually say are being used to misinform.
They're lying.
Sure.
They're lying, and they're lying to themselves. They're being dishonest to themselves. I think even government itself, those in power, they benefit from all social media being open than being closed.
Sure.
You're going to fight with a population which is already tired. The population is already tired, and then you're closing the only platforms they have.
They are now
to communicate. What are you going to get? Riots. This is what happened in the Arab Springs. They closed social media and people ran to the streets. They ran to the streets to find information. They find their friends to get information, what really happened. And before you know it, wrong information has been passed on, and you have no country.
We recently heard that the plan is underway to again switch off internet in 2026 elections in January.
I think it will be disastrous. They are bringing problems for themselves. Already the populace is tired. Those who are in intelligence, those who are in government know the truth. The moment you close the only channel they had to get information, wrong info, you're opening a big gate for rumors to flock in, and before you know it, you won't have, even government won't have any channels to clear the so-called misinformation. I think opening social media, but when people vent out on social media, you reduce their propensity to riot. They have vented out, they have expressed themselves, and probably waiting for change. But when you close all the channels there is for any communication, for any public discourse, you're calling...
And that is what you see in what they call regulating social media.
I won't be surprised when Kampala goes on fire after the elections.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, supposedly, we decide to open up, actually give people liberty to communicate, use social media as they wish. Or we want to promote and help them, more and more people, utilize the digital spaces. What can we do to improve? Because we are there are only 5.5 million TikTok users. What can be done to improve that usage of and access to social media platforms?
I think we need to do more investment in the ICT sector. ICT sector is one of those ministries and sectors that are underfunded. We should reduce on the restrictive laws. We should reduce on the heavily huge tax regimes on ICT technologies.
Yep.
Okay, we need a proper internet penetration. As of 2021, coming into 2022, 2023, 2024, our internet penetration was at 26%. That is so little. We have the most expensive GB in East Africa.
Yeah.
Our internet is very expensive, hugely expensive. Now, in a country where people struggle with surviving a day on less than $1, you have to make choices. Should I buy data or buy food? So with an expensive internet, infrastructure that is not invested in very well, a relatively low budget in ICT, you won't expect more internet penetration. So you'll have fewer people on social media. And who will benefit from social media anyway? But again, if those few people are, again, very much restricted, social media is blocked, the benefits of internet and usage of social media will go out of the window. Apollo, there is no reasonable business that can run without internet.
Yeah, true.
In fact, we used to think that the factors of production were land, capital, labor, and all that.
Yeah.
Internet is one of them. When you're starting a business, the first thing you on your list is internet. So if it's a fuel for the economy, if it's a fuel for any business, why steal for it then? And again, the manner in which they do it. In 2021, when they closed internet, for them, their agenda was to close social media. But again, they affected all the other services that use internet.
Even money transfer services.
You couldn't transfer money. You journalists could not transfer news to your stations. It was very hard. So the level at which misinformation was moving around, people didn't know what was going on. It was very high. So internet has more benefits to a country. It fuels the economic growth. It fuels democracy. It gives people the liberty to express themselves. Than the few individuals those who have misused internet. We have enough laws, that they can be taken to court, and if indeed they misused the internet, they can be prosecuted.
Simpala, you're proposing we provide cheap and easy access to internet services. That's one. You propose we loosen up on legislation, possibly. The legislation, what you call draconian laws, and do you also propose people being possibly oriented and maybe taught on how to use internet for positive benefits also?
They don't need to be taught. Already we have more people using it for better reasons. Were they taught and trained? They are not taught and trained. I think what people are using internet the way you use any other platform that is not internet or ICT technologies. What we are finding ourselves in is that we are finding ourselves in a regime that has entirely gone in the direction of lack of rule of law. And the regime has been around for so long. It is tired. So any criticism is seen as opposition, it is seen as blackmail, it is seen as abuse. What is criticism? Who dictates what is bad, what is good? Who stands at the pedestal of righteousness to determine, Apollo, you posted something that annoyed me? You get it? You even have laws that speak to annoying someone. Can you imagine? In this day and era, the person of someone. You get it? Who determines what annoys, what doesn't? You get it? So that means every other thing that person thinks will annoy him, whoever says it, they'll be persecuted, which is very wrong.
Your final word, Sempala, on those who think, to those who think social media platforms should be banned completely.
You want a peaceful Uganda? Open internet.
That's it from Alan Sempala Chigozi. And Sempala Chigozi is a tech lawyer, but also a digital rights activist. My name is Prince Apollo. Let's, wait to see what will happen. But government has made it clear that indeed they are planning to introduce some forms of regulation for internet and social media use in Uganda. My name is Prince Apollo. From here, we'll be going into a Misinji with Pastor Aluza Sibijingo, but later we'll be crossing over to Canaan land where there is a power packed overnight. Thank you so much, Alan. Thank you.
Thank you, Apollo.
Good evening and God bless you. God bless Uganda.